All the presents are ordered and are on their way to you. All the tickets are booked. Christmas trees are decorated, and the last outreach campaigns for this year are already ready to go. So let me introduce my colleagues. Yana Torre Aspraki, Chief Business Development Officer of Email Council and the most passionate deliverability specialist I've ever seen. And Max Zubenko, our enthusiastic product marketing manager in Reply. And before we start, I would like to mention you our offer. You can get 75% off the first 4 months on any Reply plan and add-on paid annually. You can visit reply.io holiday offer for further information. And the offer will be valid until December 2031. I'm sorry. And no worries, if you miss anything now, you will receive the recording of this webinar and the presentation afterwards, so you will be able to get back to this offer later. And today we are going to touch on some very important points of deliverability and anti-spam best practices in 2023. A very first and very important thing that you need to understand, that spam filtering systems know everything about you and all your sending habits. And each year, they are only improved. They gather more and more information about you to create your sending profile, so they become extremely powerful. So what do you need to do to fight them? You need to stop fighting. The main aim is to protect people from unwanted emails. Treat your recipients as you want to be treated with a common sense approach. So do your best to provide people with the mails they're interested in. Respect them, and you will succeed. For some reasons, in 2022, people were still thinking that purchasing 10, 15 domains, sending tons of emails to scrapped list is a very good strategy to handle business. Well, you will be able to reach somebody, but you should be aware of the fact that this is a direct way to spam. Time goes by, things changed, but there are points that are relevant in 2023. Any outreach starts with the domain and email service. So the first thing you need to do is to decide which domain to use, how many domains to create, whether you need a subdomain or not. And let's start discussing with domain creation. I will share with you the most common questions and thus cover the basics. Should I send from my main domain or should I create a separate one? This is something that I hear very often. Cold outreach always puts your domain at risk. So you have the following options. If you send a lot of warm emails from your domain, you can send cold outreach from your main domain, and most likely it will be like balanced. If you do not want to hurt your domain at all, use the second domain. And when you use the second domain, do not forget to maintain cold outreach and cold emails with the warm traffic, real or artificial. Should I create a domain or a subdomain? Subdomains helps you to segment traffic. For example, marketing emails can go via marketing.reply.io. This will be a subdomain for particular marketing emails. Providers will approve it. But if your subdomain goes to spam, your domain will go to spam too. You need to understand this. So yes, it helps to reduce risks by completing providers' demands to segment traffic, but will not protect your domain from spam. And how many domains it's better to create? I would say up to 3 is optimal, especially if you send to different markets, for example, USA market and European market. If you create tons of domains, you will look like a spammer because this is how spammers typically act. You can use them simultaneously or use, for example, 2 and keep one on the off chance. Do not use the same content when you send from several domains. This is very important because if one domain goes to spam, your other domains will be tracked by the same content. Also, it's a very good recommendation to use trusted domain extensions like com, co, io, because there are some extensions that have lower reputation, like x by that, info, etc. Also, when can I start sending cold emails? People always ask me. I would say, please do not send emails from a new domain because this is what spammers typically do. And warm up it at least for 3 weeks But the more you do, the better. And we'll come back to these questions a bit later today. But right now, when you're ready to start slowly and increase your sending volumes gradually, because you will look, if you do this, you will look less suspicious to mail providers. If you change your volumes dramatically and suddenly, you can be blocked by your provider, or your mails can quickly start going into spam folders. An important thing before you do your outreach from your domain is checking your basic domain setup. Why should you do it? Unauthenticated emails are considered as not trusted by recipients' mail servers, and emails may be rejected or go to spam. So here goes the next question: how to check it? So there are plenty of online tools like Mail Tester. Most likely, if you use any third-party tool to send emails, this tool will provide you with such a check and will let you know if you need to adjust your domain to send from such tools or not. You can also speak to your hosting provider support or to your mail service support that you use for sending, and they will also assist you. On your screen right now, you see the list of domain configurations that are responsible for email authentication and for receiving emails. So such records as SPF, DKIM, DMARC will authenticate your mail provider to send emails. MX records will allow you to accept emails. So make sure you have them configured properly, because you will be able to send emails, but you will not be able to receive emails. You may be surprised by 0 reply rate. It's just because you can't accept emails. Such records as a record and DNS, reverse DNS records are configured typically automatically for most mail providers, so we don't need to take care of them. And where to start fixing all this? So you need to have access to your hosting website. It can be GoDaddy, Namecheap, Bluehost, etc. You also will need access to your mail service admin panel. And you may need support section of your mail provider or hosting provider just to get some additional information. And now we are going to change the topic, and we'll check more information about sending strategy. Because, for example, the list quality is a key to your deliverability, not only technical things. So, list hygiene and understanding your interaction with recipients is a fundamental thing in your outreach. If you create it negligently, you first will waste your time, money, and efforts on people you will never reach successfully. And second, you will put your domain at risk. So here are some things you need to do when you start your outreach. First, validation. What you need to understand is that validation is not a panacea, but an additional tool that should be used to reduce possible problems. You will not avoid all bounces or completely clean your list from all spam traps with any validation tool. You need to understand this. And here is why. Not any tool can give you 100% accurate results, because providers can play tricks during validation. I'm pretty sure you have faced such cases when you get a positive validation result and email bounces because of being invalid. This is fine. It can happen. You can only make sure that the percentage of such inaccuracy is not high. So you can try different tools to select the one that works for you best. Also, not all bounces are because of emails being invalid, of course. We'll cover bounces a bit later, but yes, bounces can happen because you were suspected as spam by recipient, or recipient has a full mailbox, or doesn't accept emails outside the company because of the company policy. Also, spam traps, they are created like every day, and it's almost impossible to detect them technically. Validation tools can have information about some spam traps, but it's only a tip of the iceberg. So it's impossible to get rid of spam traps using validation. That's why it's very important to pay attention on how you get your list, where do you get it from. So, and also do not forget, by the way, remove such addresses like general addresses like info, support, ad from your outreach, because it's not personalized email address, and there is a chance that you will not get a reply and get any engagement of your audience. The second goes monitoring. So remember, such providers as Gmail are super attentive to how people interact with your mails. This is how the spam filters work. So be very attentive and do not miss your hygiene time to separate your silent audience. If you have people who are not interacting, you can decide whether to try and re-engage them using particular techniques or remove them from your list. But keep in mind that open rate is not a 100% accurate metric. Open tracking is a pixel. So it's not downloaded into spam folders, you may know this, but also it will not be downloaded in inboxes if images are disabled. For example, Microsoft boxes have their images disabled by default. So even if your recipient gets your mail into inbox, you'll never know that he opened your email. This is why, but here you can use the second metrics like click-through, for example, instead. And also do not forget about adjusting your sending frequency when you work with your list. Some audience will more likely respond to you, to your activity, if you bombard them less often with your emails. And now let's go to preparation and segmentation, which is also a very important thing. So my name is Olga. Our head of HR department is also Olga. Our chief of marketing officer is Olga too. So you can't imagine how many emails regarding hiring process and marketing I receive. And it's not because we have too many Olgas in our team. No, no, no. At first I was forwarding emails to proper person, but then after some time I got tired. So what was my next action? To delete emails, to mark them as spam, to block sender, especially if I can't find an opt-out button. So this is the example from a real life situation. I'm your prospect and you failed your preparation. That's why when you gather your list, double, triple check all the names, all the positions, company names, make sure you do not disrespect your recipients. And as for segmentation can be different. So you can divide your list by source to understand which source works better for you. By history of communication, you do not want to offer products you have already sold to this list if it's the second time you contact them. By engagement, some lists can have high interaction with your emails, some don't. And now let's move to the very good topic on how to detect and fix deliverability problems. So the first thing I want to pay your attention again is bounces. What I've noticed from my experience, people become more educated in terms of email authentication, a difficult technical topic. But they continue to ignore bounces as a key to understanding deliverability issues. So bounces can speak very loud of what's going on. Moreover, they are surprisingly more specific about the issues than we can even expect. So you need to keep your bounce rate not higher than 5%, because this is something that providers recommend to do. And you need to check bounce text and fix your outreach. Here is some quick technical info. Bounce is an automated message generated either by recipient's mail server or by your own provider. There are two big groups like soft bounces, which are indicate temporary undeliverable emails, and hard bounces, which indicate permanently rejected emails. But I would also specify the third group, bounces that are caused by block from your mail provider. So when they block your sending ability and you see all your emails bounced with the same exact reasons. You may see on your screen the reasons typically G Suite users see and reasons that Office 365 users may see. So to get the information on why your emails bounce, you need to go to your mailbox, open your bounce message. You will see a very brief human-friendly explanation of what happened, and then you will see an error code. If you can't get what's going on at once, you can Google those error codes and find the explanation on the web. Next step of finding problems are those. First, do not forget to constantly monitor your rates. There is no need to compare your rates to 2 years statistics. It makes no sense, but try to compare your rates at least to 3 months. And if there is something strange, like too high open rates, to low open rates, to high opt-out rate, to low response rate, try to divide your outreach parts and timing of your outreach to get understanding of what's going on. So check out what exactly is causing it. For example, you can see the drop in your rates, but then you find out that all your sequences are currently at the last steps. And it's okay to have low open rates at this point comparing to your first steps. And another cool way of diagnosis the issues is a seed test. You can do it yourself by sending emails to your friends that use different providers, or you can get a tool that will provide you with a piece of tracking code and a list of recipients. You send emails to these addresses, and they will show you where emails land, to inbox or to spam, or to categories, for example. Although not all spam filters can be covered by such tools, but it's still a very good diagnostic tool. And we come to the question how to fix issues. It's very similar to the way how doctors treat you. You can treat the symptoms like part of your template is triggering spam filter. You can remove this part, override, and reach the inbox. Yes, you can do it, but it's also needed to go deeper and try to find the root of the issue. Maybe too many people marked your email as spam. Maybe your audience was not interacting with you. Maybe they were not able to find an opt-out button and blocked you. You can find the cure for the illness if you find the reason. I see there are some questions in chat. I think we'll go back to the question, and thank you to my colleague Angelina, who is right now assisting us in chat and replying to your questions. But if there are some, we'll cover it later. And right now, I'll give the floor to amazing Yana Tori. She'll shed the light on spam complaint stuff and legal aspects of outreach. I will probably stop sharing my screen right now, and Yana will continue.
Give me half a second to see how quickly I can share my screen.
Okay, if it's a problem, I can share my screen.
Oh no, it's not a problem. I'll just full screen it. Oh, I don't know. I clicked share on Google Docs. That was amazing.
Oh, it's okay.
Compliance and best practices. Let me make sure I am at the right place. So we're going to start with compliance, and let me share my screen finally. Here. Okay. So I assume you guys can see everything okay, and not too many Zoom things going on around. So we're going to talk. Oh, I'm not muted, right? So.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk about compliance. It's always the most annoying thing to hear. It's always like, it feels like bad news. And I'm going to start with a story from when the first compliance laws started coming out. I was working at an ESP in Canada called CakeMail. And when the law started being implemented, there was a lot of people panicking. It was one of the first times we started hearing that, email is dead. We won't be able to market anymore. It made people panic. They didn't always have, consent, or they hadn't cleaned their database in a long time. They were scared, especially of adding the unsubscribe link. And a lot of people actually started trying to move away from email, maybe going to social media or Google Ads and things like that, because the laws were like very scary for people. And the unfortunate news is not even in the laws passed, because they're not that difficult to actually follow. The thing that is actually stressful is not the government's passing any laws, is that the spam filters need to ensure that they help force senders out there to follow them. So in some cases, we hear customers say, look, I don't live in a country where we have any anti-spam laws or any security measures in terms of, consent. And the problem is that if you're sending to Gmail, for example, even if you're in the United States or in a country where there are none, Gmail still expects you to have a certain type of relationship with your customers. So maybe where you live, you're not required by the government to do it, but there's also the fact that, unfortunately, the spam filters are enforcing them. And it's important to care, even if you don't live in the country, and I'll repeat it a million times, because maybe the US doesn't care, but Gmail cares and Yahoo cares, the whole Microsoft family cares. So it's very important to implement all the things that Olga was talking about, because it will make you look like a good sender. It's important to also ensure that you understand them and that you are up to date with certain changes. And there's nothing crazy going on when it comes to laws. The governments are not expecting you to go crazy and write everything down and be, worrying about it instead of your marketing. The reason they're implemented is to keep the internet a safer place, right? So in our inboxes, we might not be the happiest. We wake up in the morning, we got like 200 new emails from companies we care about, from companies we did buy things, from people we know, people we don't know. But we all can agree that we're getting a little bit too many emails, and that a lot of the brands, they are sending us content that makes sense, but is not catered to us. And we wake up in the morning, we ignore half of the emails, and we just kind of keep going with the day. And we're looking for the emails that are important, right? The work emails that we're going to reply. And of course, the other side of the coin is that the spam filters are trying to make it safe in terms of minimizing phishing and emails that are trying to steal information or anything like that. When we're trying to when the spam filters are implementing these rules, they are looking to make sure that the spam filter is going to work everywhere. So even if, Gmail does have, services in other countries where there are no laws, unfortunately, the spam filter doesn't really care. They're trying to reduce abuse for a multitude of reasons. One, they're trying to make sure that people are not getting scammed. They're trying to make sure that people are not abusing the inbox. The inbox is a very easy way to kind of communicate with people. And, you go on LinkedIn, you grab an email address, and then I start sending you a bunch of emails. Even if my emails are great and they have good content about deliverability, you might get annoyed at me for sending you emails. So your inbox is trying to protect you from that. So it's very important to make sure that when we're putting our outreach or our marketing hat on, that we don't forget how we feel inside the inbox. And of course, these laws are the base frameworks for the senders. So for us, we need to understand what people want, how things work. For the the email service providers as well, so that they can ensure that they have a terms of policy in place, that if, for example, a sender is not following things and is affecting other senders, that they can shut them down very easily. Block lists as well. I know they can be very annoying to deal with when you are on a block list, but all they're doing is looking for specific things. And if you're doing those specific things, then they will block you. And they don't block you because they decided they want to be annoying. They're trying to make the internet a safer place. And of course, anything that's email related as well. So places where you can do like cold emailing, you can do marketing emailing when it comes to template generation or automation. So anything email related will also be forced in here. So we're talking about security, keeping your contacts safe, ensuring that you're doing everything you need to do to make sure you keep landing in the inbox. Then the reason you should care is that the spam filters enforce them. So there's nothing you can do about it. And unfortunately, spam filters don't update just, big updates here and there during the year. One, they're constantly learning from what's happening. So for example, I use this example very often. My father is very old. He signs up to everything. He goes to a store, he gives an email, and he's always getting new brands to email him. Me, on the other end, especially in my business address, I make sure that I subscribe to things I'm actually going to engage with, and I try to reduce the pollution in my inbox. I have other email addresses for subscribing to everything, but in my business inbox, I'm going to keep everything clean, almost inbox zero. And you can imagine that a sender who doesn't have a long reputation or doesn't have a historical reputation or has a bad reputation, they're more likely to inbox in my father's inbox than in mine, because the way that I act in my inbox is different than the way he acts. And the spam filters are slowly moving towards just looking at, not just, but really putting a lot of energy into deciding based on the engagement of the person, which means that you can have great reputation and I will not get your emails because in the past, I might have interacted very negatively with emails that look like yours. So we all have received in our business mailboxes some outreach to, I don't know, work on your website or do a design for you or do to be a personal assistant. And personally in my inbox, I usually don't engage with those emails. I'm not very quick to click on the report a spam button, but I'm not going to engage. I'm going to unsubscribe or figure out a way to not have to look at those emails. So you have to understand that even if the compliance laws are not forced on you, the spam filters not only are going to enforce them based on the engagement, they're going to enforce them based on what the rules are, because then they're also liable in a way if they're allowing certain spam or certain emails to come in the inbox. Then the other reason is more of a logistical issue. So if you're communicating with people you don't know, laws work differently around the world. So if I'm in Europe, which I am right now, and I did subscribe to an American company who's using American IPs and American software to send emails, everything's American. Even though I'm Canadian, because I'm in Europe, I am protected by the European laws as well. So if I wanted to create a problem for somebody, I could, because if I'm getting an email from an American company that I did not subscribe to, I'm still protected by the laws that are here, because where I was when I subscribed or when I didn't subscribe or when you added me in your system is here. And also because you have an email address, you don't necessarily know where people are living. So in a logistical manner, if you only have an email address, you don't know which laws are going to be applied. And the more unfortunate news is that you don't have to be a big business for somebody to create a problem with you when it comes to compliance. Small businesses get fined. I mean, they don't get fined in the millions of dollars, they get fined in the hundreds or the thousands of dollars, but everybody needs to ensure that they're doing things correctly. So it's very important to understand the basic stuff when it comes to compliance, which is ensuring you have an unsubscribe link. One, it reduces spam reports. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's going to reduce spam reporting. It will ensure that people can just tell you in a positive manner that they don't want to receive your emails, which makes it easier for you to control who you should continue emailing or who you're emailing and they're just not seeing the message because they reported you as spam. The other part is to ensure that the lead generation part that we talked about earlier is really fitting your business and industry. Sometimes we believe that contacting, I don't know, the C-level officers in a business are more likely to answer us. And sometimes it works for certain industries. And sometimes in other industries, contacting directly the person that's managing a team or who's going to be making the decisions is a better decision. So it's important to understand who you should be communicating with and to be honest with yourself. Because it might make logical sense that you should contact, the HR department with HR things. But sometimes that's not the right person. Sometimes it has to be the C-level person and vice versa. And when it comes to compliance, it's all about ensuring you're not creating issues for other people. These laws weren't here to make email marketing die. They've been made here just to make sure that there are certain rules that people have to follow, because we can all remember the times where spam filters were not that strong. The laws weren't there and we're getting emails from anything we've ever, touched, saw, and never seen in our lives. It's very, very simple. Whatever you don't like, the laws don't like either. It's as simple as that. It's nothing too crazy. And the way that the email industry is going to move around compliance, one, email marketing software providers and the inboxes as well are just trying to protect themselves. So they're going to create certain rules. And even if you might be allowed to do something or you've been doing something for a very long time, if there's a compliance change, they will update. And then something that was working yesterday might not work today anymore. So it's very important to be monitoring your deliverability and your reputation and looking at everything, not only the open rates, not only at the reply rates, looking at everything as much as possible. And of course, when you're doing outreach, you're communicating with different people, you're getting these people from different places, the messaging should change. Because again, you're continuing to learn. Then the other part where it's affecting the email industry is that in specific countries or specific people, and this is the human part of it, the subscriber is going to expect something from a company. If you're doing outreach with them or you're doing email marketing, they're expecting completely different things. And it's important to make sure that we don't forget about the human aspect, because if engagement, not if, because engagement is becoming more and more important for inboxes, just like you would think with social media, right? If I post a picture and my friends like it, there's a bigger chance that other people I don't know are going to see it in their feed. If I post pictures that nobody likes, nobody engages with, the Instagram algorithm is not going to show it to my friends very long, and they're not going to show it to anybody else either. So if we're okay with that happening, we should be okay with how spam filters work as well. And our subscribers and the inboxes are expecting the same thing. They expect you to be sending emails that they want to receive, that they want to engage in order to create or maintain a relationship with you. And the other sad part is that the more tactics and tricks you're looking to find in order to go around the human part of it and the technical part of it, you're just teaching the inboxes how to recognize that you're using tactics and tricks. Because at the end of the day, maybe we can trick a machine, but we cannot trick humans, right? And if over time, humans are showing again and again, different people are showing that they're not engaging, they're reporting your emails as spam, they're opening and ignoring because the subject line was very good, but the email was not equal to the subject line, or it was not what they were expecting from you, from your outreach. The inboxes might take a longer time to figure it out, but they're going to figure it out. And the only way to fix deliverability problems is to fix the actual issue. And it's just to be honest with yourself. If people are not engaging with your content, something needs to change, because trying again and again is just not going to work. So I would like to go over some quick best practices and some misconceptions as well, so that you understand and make better decisions. Because if you know how to play the game, you'll always be making the right decisions, and your strategy will immediately change in your mind, and you won't have to worry about deliverability issues or compliance. So of course, we want to maintain high engagement. We want to reduce spam complaints. And the reason why we want to reduce spam complaints is that most mailbox providers, and Gmail is one of them, does not provide the information back of who complained. So I am a big Gmail user and a G Suite user. If you were to send me an email and I did report your email as spam, I will continue to receive your emails, if you send me emails, in the spam folder. Unless the spam filter decides it might be an important email, for example, like privacy update, like a legal document or an invoice or things like that, all the emails will continue to land in spam. The problem is that no one on the planet can give you the information that my email address reported your email as spam. So certain mailbox providers provide that information. So you have Yahoo, if your DKIM is authenticated, and so on. But Gmail, which is usually a big part of our list, doesn't report back to you. So if people are reporting your emails as spam, you'll never be notified. And then the flip side as well is that even if emails land in the spam folder, if there's a reason for the spam filter to want to look at the email, the content, what you're sending, and the links, it might generate an open. So now it gets more confusing, because not only did I report your email as spam and you have no idea, and I'm getting the emails in spam, you might still see some people look like I did open the email. So it's extremely important to make sure you know exactly who you're going to be communicating with, and you make sure that you have a certain type of relationship with them. It's extremely important. The laws ask you to have the consent as well. Also, that helps reduce spam complaints. We all know how it feels when we get emails from people we don't know in our inbox. And I might not be a big spam complainer, but I do know some people that are very quick to click on the email. So the human part is important. And if you don't have consent because you're doing outreach, which is fine, do it in a normal manner. Volume is not key here, because the issue with deliverability is that if you do have deliverability issues, you don't know which percentage and who exactly is the one getting the inbox and who's getting in spam. And I'm not talking about somebody who complained about your email. I'm just talking if the inboxes are starting to block your emails or put them in spam. There's no real good way of knowing this other than doing like an inboxing test. But then again, that's also not precise. So you want to make sure that you are emailing the correct people with the right message, and that you do learn from your mistake. Adding an unsubscribe link, even in outreach, is always a good idea. It just makes it easier for people to report the email as spam if you don't have an unsubscribe link. And if you are doing outreach and people are not expecting your email in any sort of way, we all know that people are not, sitting down and writing an email one by one. They assume that this is an email marketing email, even if it's just text. Adding an unsubscribe link at the bottom is not the end of the world. People are not going to it's not going to reduce the chances of making money or engaging with somebody and, leading them on into a conversion if you have an unsubscribe link. It's normal to be using tools in order to send emails. And then there have all the very basic things, make sure that your links are working, that you're reducing the redirect. So when you're tracking, there's already a redirect address, which is fine, but it shouldn't go to like bit.ly, which then goes to your website. Try to stay far away from renting, sharing, or purchasing lists. You want to make sure that you're going to communicate with the right people and you're not just grabbing as many people as possible. Of course, no broken HTML, and copy pasting from Google Doc to the editors can sometimes look like it's okay, but in the HTML it might break. And make sure that the images you put, and you can put images. Images are not the reason your emails are landing in spam. But just make sure that they're not heavy images, because sometimes the image is going to be hosted and we don't want that to be a technical issue instead of deliverability word. The other part is also using words that make sense with your industry. So if you're selling something and you want to use the word sell, use it. The issue is when you're trying to, make your text a little bit convoluted and very complicated for people because you're trying to get away from words. And that just makes it harder for people to convert, because instead of focusing on what they want to hear, and that's what you're writing, you're just trying to change it, to change the words in there. If you want to put an exclamation point or an emoji in your subject line, go for it. Do what is best in order to convert your customers. Of course, don't be aggressive, but present yourself correctly, talk about your business, and the spam filters are going to learn what industry you're in, what you're talking about, what you're doing, especially if you're also doing email marketing on the side with people that might already be your customers. They know what your business is. Don't worry about words. People, and let's all be honest, if you go in your own inbox and you write the word sale or take a list of spammy words, just put any of them inside your inbox. Look at how many emails you're getting that are using the spammy words. The spammy words used to be a problem because it was the easiest way to, make decisions. But as time progresses, spam complaints and engagement are usually the way that affect your deliverability or not. And then, of course, don't make any crazy changes. And by crazy changes, I mean, don't change your tone really quickly. So during Corona, we had all these Louis Vuitton, whatever. They were selling all these expensive bags and they were all about selling and talking about high-end couture or whatever. And then COVID happened, and then they sent an email to everyone saying, oh, we hope everything is okay. That was weird for the spam filters. The brand was talking one way and now they're completely changing. They're not talking about the same thing anymore. They're talking about things that doesn't fit the industry anymore. So if you're going to be doing any kind of changes, volume, content, strategy, rotating your content, make sure that you're not doing it one shot, because you want to give the time for spam filters to figure out why you're making changes and to reassess what they think of you. So, we talk about Black Friday the last couple of weeks. We start doing warm-ups in September. We're not talking about Black Friday in September, but if the week of Black Friday, I want to send an email every day, I cannot go from sending one email a week and then in November go bam, 5 emails, 7 emails, and then go back down. It means that at the beginning in September, I need to start sending my customers 2 emails a week to the people that are very engaged, put the volume up, start sending them 3, then 4. And then once it's Black Friday, I'm ready to start sending as many emails as I want. So any changes, always slowly over a period of time. Of course, the next point is compliance laws. Please follow them as much as you can, because spam filters care, and so do the inboxes and everybody else that's related here. And always clean your list using engagement. And be honest with yourself. It's not worth sending that extra email or trying to send it again to people who don't show you any engagement and don't convert. Try to figure out why they're not converting. If it's a deliverability issue, fix it. But learn from what people are showing you. Because if sending emails or sending as many emails as you can is just not going to help. The more you send is not necessarily the more money you're going to make. I know a lot of people that have very tiny lists and they're able to convert everybody there. The message is specific, they have great deliverability, and they're engaging with their subscribers. And if I'm not mistaken, that is all for now. And I will pass on the flame to somebody else.
Yeah, Naturi, thank you very much for first summarizing best practices. And the second, my personal thank you for extremely valuable information that you have shared, because as I see questions related to compliance make senders really scared, and I understand why. And
Exactly.
I hope that shared information will allow you to be less frightened than our participants. And
exactly. And we're always scared. We're always hearing about cold email and outreach and so on, and that laws are making it difficult. What they're trying to make difficult is for people not to be able to go buy a list of 45 million people and then send them 45 million emails. That's what they're trying to reduce. Because at the end of the day, if I wanted to go, I don't know, sell websites, I can go to the store down the street and knock on their door and do a business deal. But I mean, I cannot do that one by one. And we just need to make sure that we're taking that, the door-to-door approach, and we're putting it in email instead of getting a little bit greedy and be like, oh, let me email the whole country. Everybody needs a website.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. And you remember that we were talking about preparing domain, and I have mentioned warm up. So previously, warm up was done manually, like you were gathering emails from your friends, asking them, please reply to open my mails, reply to them, and you were losing friends. Right now, thanks to technology, we do have tools that help this automation, and I'll pass the word to Max, who will tell you more about a tool in Reply that will help you to prepare your domain for outreach, to fix some tiny issues. Max, there you go.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
And my presentation's here?
Yeah.
Great. Let's start. I need 5 more minutes to, to share something you could use just this evening or today to start increase your deliverability. So let's start with what's this warm up and what it's for. The first thing, warm up builds your sending reputation by performing positive actions with your emails. And second thing, it's email from domain without positive reputation are less trusted. You can use warm up for new domains and new email accounts. Also, you could use for domains and templates in spam or for balancing cold outreach. Excuse me. Yeah. And what about the features? Yeah, the main things why you could use email or reply warm up, why you should use it. 7-day free trial. So you could start it today, and in 7 days, you would notice the significant results. Email warm up is now a lightweight standalone tool that's make it easier to use. Single click setup with Gmail, Outlook, business accounts, multiple warm up profiles to meet current needs, and ability to warm up custom templates, or signatures to make sure that you are 100% outreach ready. And the health block with the DNS domain config checks to ensure proper authentication and tag setup. So let's start. What should you do to start warm up your account? The first thing is sign up in warm up by reply, then add new email account, and then log in with your business account. Then set up, turn on toggle to run warm up of your email account. And that's really important thing I want to share with you. That's reply warm up service is an automated peer-to-peer tool. That will automatically exchange emails between all the clients who sign up for the warm up. So emails delivered to inbox will automatically open, replied to the market and marked as important. If your email goes into spam or junk folder, the service takes the email out of the spam or junk, marks it as important, and replies. As a result, your deliverability improves. When you connect your account to warm up, you will start receiving emails from other participants, and your inbox will look like this. So don't scare. That's why we strongly recommend to set up inbox filter to filter incoming emails from other participants. Otherwise, your inbox will be flooded with emails you don't expect. Finally, what settings could you set up? You could set up the daily goals. It's amount of emails could send from your account, and you can use auto-generated text, or you can use your own templates for your outreach campaign with your signature. Warm-up is a good tool to build and support your sending reputation, but it's only a part of things you may need to do, build a good sending reputation and thus achieve success on your outreach. So use it wisely. Thank you.
Okay, we have like one question here. How to warm up email accounts that are not from Google or Outlook?
Sorry, Olga, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I was pretty sure I had my microphone enabled. So yeah, I saw the question. I was just about to answer, but Max has finished his word. So right now, yes, you can connect only G Suite or Outlook account, but soon we're going to release new features where you will be able to add other providers. And WarmUp will help you to build a reputation to deliver into G Suite to Outlook. Thanks. And probably that's all. I don't see any other questions. I still want to thank everyone who was posting questions in chat and Q&A section. Again, my pleasure to see you here, Yana Tori and Maxime. Also, thank you very much. You will receive the video recording of the webinar and the deck into your emails. And thanks.